Very good. All right, Sebastian, it is good to meet you. And I am looking forward to learning a bit more about you and your business and what you do with the community and what you'd like to share with the community. So thank you out of your busy time to dedicate this time to that. And just curious if you would be interested in sharing a little bit about who you are and what you do and what your business is.
Yeah, for sure. So again, as you say, my name is Sebastian Blandon. I'm a software engineer. I have been working in software for like around 11 years now. And yeah, so what I do is right now work for, like the company that I started. We exited the company in 2020. We were acquired by a venture capital from California called Sound Growth. So the company at the beginning was called Haya Company, but with the acquisition, it changed to Debsavant. My background is in computer science. And what else can I tell you? Okay, my background from my side is I moved to the States around 12 years ago. I'm originally from Colombia, from Medellin, Colombia. I moved to the States because my family did move here. So I was like, oh yeah, I will go to the States as well. I went to college to Wesleyan in Lincoln. I did not finish school. Why? I had a daughter. On my senior year. So that was when I was like, okay, I need to make some money to support my daughter. And that was when I started, like the company. So everything started working for the Lincoln Stars, the hockey team. I got approached by one of my fellow students, and he told me that his dad was a pretty good friend of, Ryan, that was the owner back then of the Lincoln Stars, and they were trying to build an app. So he asked me, hey, I know that you're pretty good at coding. Would you like to take this challenge? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I called one of my friends from also a computer scientist. And I was like, hey, man, like this opportunity that we can launch, a business on these and developing, software for people, because that was one of my dreams when I was a kid. I was always thinking like, oh my God, it could be awesome if I can get paid to build software for people. I have been coding almost all my life. So the opportunity happened, and things scaled pretty quick. I would say at the beginning was pretty slow, but I would say around 2018, we were up, and this is back to 2014. So for 4 years, we were working mostly for Nebraska businesses, because that was the network that I had at the time. And don't get me wrong, there. It was tough at the beginning. Starting was pretty tough, mostly because I'm an immigrant. I didn't know anyone in Lincoln, and also I had no network back then. But something that we were pretty fortunate was that while we were launching the business, we were accepted through InMotion. I don't know if you're familiar with the InMotion program in Lincoln. What they do is they give you, back then was around $70,000 for you to develop an idea, So we went through that, and that helped me a lot to, like put my name on the map and start to meet people and stuff like that. So in 2014, we launched the company, and 2018, I got a call from a company from California as well. And they were like, hey, we got your referral from someone that told us that you were pretty good with data. That's what I mostly focus my work on, on data engineering. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm good. How can I help you? And they were like, yeah, we have this issue, working at a data warehouse. That's where they collect all the data from the company. And we wanted to see if you could help us to build, a system to control all that data. So I did that for them. And after that, that was when everything went just like hockey stick. They really liked what we were doing. And that was when they put us in contact with the venture capital that invests on them. And the person in charge of the venture capital told me, hey, Sebastian, we really like your work, and we would like you to support all the ventures that we're acquiring and that we're investing. So the company at that point turned it into more than a dev shop. it turned it more into a company, an engineering company that helped to support like rapidly scale like startups. That if you ask me, there are no startups under my opinion. I mean, if you get $100 million investment, I don't think that you're a startup. You know what I mean? So that's how everything, like has happening. Like it's a pretty short way to say it, but yeah, like at the beginning back in 2018 when we were contacted by this company, we were like 4 people, just 4 of us, and today we're 200.
Awesome. So would you say that you could contribute your growth specifically to a referral of someone that knew your skill sets and then you embraced that opportunity and made it go?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, those type of opportunities, and when you get reached out as an individual for from a company like them, they're a huge company. I was pretty shocked, because at that point I was just a young software engineer, and they were requiring like a lot of experience. And I was like, guys, I have no this experience. I'm pretty new. And they were like, no, we believe you have them. I was like, all right, hope you're not wrong. So yeah, and there, I'm gonna be honest with you. What I did there as an entrepreneur was like, okay, this is a one-time, opportunity, one lifetime opportunity, Linda. And I was like, I'm just gonna jump all in on this, So I pretty much put all my life savings. My dad, passed away like before I started the company, so he gave me some money, and I pretty much used that money to build the company. I was like, okay, these people are asking me to build this. I don't have because they literally told us, once you're done, this is like a pro bono. If you finish it, you're gonna do it. And I remember I talked with the 4 employees that we were at that time, and I was like, hey guys, I'm just gonna put all my life savings, my dad's money on this, because I think that we can accomplish it, and we did. And we are.
As an entrepreneur, right, you have that spirit, and when you have confidence in yourself, you can certainly bring others along. I'm just curious, what would you say if you were to start from square one? What would you have done differently? What have you learned that you would share with other business owners?
I would say, I know that money is always a concern when you're starting a business. When in my case, when you don't come from like a golden spoon, background, of course, like money is always a huge concern. I will say that as an entrepreneur, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. And I will say that the best advice I can give to people joining, these, like the opportunity to start a business, stuff like that, is do not say yes to everything. I know that sometimes you gotta do it, because you gotta have money, and you like to run stuff, but sometimes it's better to say no. I would say that I have been really lucky. I would say that, yeah, some like one of my really good coworkers that he is still in the company. He was one of the first ones working in the company. And he told me that he sometimes believed that I am like Jack Sparrow. He's like, man, I have seen you going into situations that were like, okay, we're done, or Sebastian is just gonna get beat on that call. And no, like I leave the call smiling, and everyone is smiling and happy. And it's like, how you did it? And I was like, just explain things to people and set up expectations correctly. Some people will get mad, and that's okay. But if they need your service and you're being honest with what you're saying and you're setting up the correct expectations, nobody's gonna argue against that. You know what I mean? And if they're hiring you because your professional skills or your company skills, definitely set up expectations and do not be afraid to say no, but no, in engineering, that's what we go for, like to school, not to give a no as an answer, but say, hey, this cannot be done this way, but we can do it this other way. You know what I mean? Let's bring always solutions. And the second thing that I would say to people, because this is something that I deal daily with the type of job that I do, is do not fall in love with the solution. Fall in love with the problem. That's the first thing. Solutions is many out there, many, but the problem is just one. So fall in love with that problem, not with the solution that you have in mind, because that solution is going to change. Whatever edge case you did not take into account, that's going to make change your solution,
Beautiful. Good advice. Good advice. I'm curious, you said started in 2014 with 4 employees, and now you have a team of 200. What do you look for? What are the qualities that you look for, and how do you foster a productive and a positive work environment for and with them?
Yeah. When I look for, I was a big part of the recruitment process until we were around like 110 people, and mostly because I was the only person kind of able in the company to explain engineering to business to engineering for say. So I was pretty involved, into the recruitment side of things. And I will say that, Linda, the first thing that I look for is attitude. I do not care about talent. And it sounds bad, but when you have a good support on your managers and on your principals and really good senior engineers, you're looking more for that person that really want to do it, that really want to jump on board, that really have that personality that is resilient, is someone that want to jump into challenges, and want to solve those challenges no matter what. The talent, trust me, internet can teach you talent, and it's what I always say. I can teach you as many talents as you want, or I can have people teaching you as many talents as you want. But if you don't have the attitude, or a candidate doesn't have the attitude, it's not something that is going to be, scalable. Let's put it that way. And I think that something that made me feel pretty proud of the culture that so far I have been able to build in the company is that we have a 2%, I would say, retention issue. Let's put it that way. So last year, just 2% of our 200 engineers did change jobs, And don't get me wrong, in this industry, when I mentioned that, people's like, what do you do? How much you pay? And I'm like, I do not pay what Google or companies out there pay. I pay, of course, we pay way less, but it's about community. And this sounds crazy to say, but I have created, for example, we had a strategy in engineering that is like, hey, if in 45 minutes you have not been able to solve an issue, reach out on the engineering channel asking for help. Why? Because it's 200 other minds here that maybe they went through your same struggle, and you're just banging your head against the walls, and maybe somebody here already have the answer, and what you're going to spend 8 hours, 10 hours today, somebody can help you solve in 15 minutes, So I will say that is the support, the community, and showing myself as a leader more than as a boss, and I have, and this is pretty funny, but we have this is from the Marines, but we have something, I never serve, but I have multiple friends that serve. And the one of the things that stuck in my head is never left men behind. And that's what I told my team. We're not letting anyone behind. This person has a struggle in finishing his task. We're going to go and help them. If we have to stay all night, we're going to stay all night. For example, I have project managers that they're like, hey, it's 3 a.m. Should I be on this call? And it's like, yes, you need to be on this call. It's like, but how can I help? It's like clapping and dancing. I don't know, but show moral, show support to your coworkers, because you dropping this call and going to bed is first, it's going to create a bad leadership image, on the engineers about you. And second, sometimes just having that person there, just clapping like your success, it gives you moral to keep pushing, So I would say that, and the other is be honest and be blunt, or what I say, be brutally honest, but without being rude. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So you're creating a really good environment, and it's more than a paycheck. So
exactly.
Absolutely. I'm curious about what you might comment on, some misconceptions in running a business, or bumping into something and how you address them from being a business owner.
Do not try to solve everything by yourself. Something that I learned is I am pretty good at computer science and solving engineering problems, but I am really bad at finance and accounting and all the stuff. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Linda, I have no idea. Of course I understand the general of it, but it's not like I sit down with my CFO and it's like, hey, yeah, explain me everything. No at all, or sit down with our CEO, because I'm not a CEO of the company, and it's like, hey, explain me everything. Why? Because I think that when you're not good on something and you try to learn to do something, you're going to be mediocre in everything you try to do. You have to specialize on something, and you have to surround yourself around people that know more about what you don't know. That's the key. And I think that that's how the company has been able to scale, is that we as company have been able to surrender ourselves around people that know way more than us, for example, in human resources. For example, like having an experienced CEO that can guide us through all this, having a board of directors that is supportive and that they're not just there to receive a report each quarter, but they are there to guide you and tell you, hey, you know what, this issue that you're having, I had that issue, back in 2019, for example, in 2008, call this person and tell them that you are calling on my behalf and you have some questions. So I think that that's one of the most important parts. And the second one is, I always say this, when you feel that your job and your company are not exciting you anymore, even if you're the founder, move away. Just get out there, make life easier for the people that are in the company and for you, and I feel that a lot of people do not understand that, and they try to take control of everything. And once they don't have control of everything, they just think that they are being moved apart, as founders. And you say, no, you're an important part of this, but things scale, things change, and you have to accept that things change. And that's something that I would say personally took me a while, that once I exit the company, I wanted to do all this stuff, and the new owners were like, no, we're doing this. And I was against of it. And then I was like, wait a second, I do not own this company anymore. And second, I am just being a blocker for all the ideas they have. So let's do what I know how to do, and is building code, building software, and let the change happen. Because as a founder, you cannot assume that the company is going to be the same one that you found 8 years ago. For example, with Google, when the two brothers put it together, they were not expecting to be running a marketing company, because technically Google is a marketing company. You know what I mean? They weren't expecting that, but they were able to accept that that was the natural change of the business.
Love it. Love it. If you were to give advice to your younger self or to a younger entrepreneur, what would that be?
Do stuff that is not computer science. I'm just kidding. No, I will say that to be a little bit more loud about when you don't like stuff. I have been putting myself sometimes in the past in situations where I had to sacrifice a lot of stuff, and just for not being loud, not just for not talking or bringing stuff up because, you're afraid that saying something is going to jeopardize a contract, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, and also I would say this is, I don't know, like how to say this, but it's like, do not sacrifice your happiness and your family well-being for your business. And I mean, you can notice that my voice kind of like cut like there, but because for keep growing the business and stuff like that, like I got into a divorce and a lot of stuff that was hard for me. I was not able to enjoy my daughter for her first 7 years of her life. I was just too busy, traveling a lot because of the business. So what I could tell my young self is like, do not sacrifice that stuff for money, because it's a stuff that you're not gonna see again.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Where do you see yourself in 5 years or a time in the future?
Linda, that's a crazy question that I have been, like processing on my head lately a lot. Just because a lot of people tells me that I am really good at what I do, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I have a huge imposter syndrome. I will say that 70% of we as software engineers, we have that, because in school, they don't teach us how to bring ideas or how to make sure that our idea is being listened, or make sure that, hey, you know what you know, so embrace it. You know what I mean? We don't get teach down in school. And I will say that in 5 years, I see myself working for a bigger company. I just really want to know if for real I am as good as people say. Because right now I feel here in my business, with all the success that we had, everything that is happening, how much we're growing, I just don't know if I am a big fish in a small tank, and sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes I feel that I want to go out there and work for a big corporation. I have never had like a job like that in my life. I work with I talk with my friends, and they work for Charles Schwab, they work for TD Ameritrade, they work for Gallup, stuff like that. And they're like, bring these problems to me and explain me. And I'm like, wow, like I wish I could be doing stuff like that. I mean, not saying that what I'm doing, it doesn't excite me, but things that are like, oh yeah, I have this team that is 400 people. And I'm like, geez, the biggest team we have right now working on an application, for example, is 20. So I would like to see if I really have as many leadership skills and computer science skills as people say. That's what I see myself in 5 years, is moving to another company, where like a bigger company, where I can see if I am as good as I am. And if in 5 years I can retire, that would be fantastic. I don't want to be a millionaire. I mean, with the exit, I did pretty well. But yeah, my dream is not driving Ferraris or flying airplanes, like, no at all. Like I take myself as a really simple, and sometimes not in the intellectual side, but in my life, I'm pretty basic, let's say like that, So I see myself having more time to enjoy my daughter, and seeing if other companies for real will value my skills as the clients do here at Dev Savant.
Beautiful. It sounds like there is a next for you that needs to be further defined and dreamed about a bit. So beautiful, Beautiful. Well, thank you